last video, we went to the Loop 2 off-road park around Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. We found that my Pitman arm was loose on the steering box, and we tried to retighten it down, but ultimately it ended our day because we got it as tight as we could, and it was still kind of wobbling around on the gearbox. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the Pitman arm and steering gear in the '99 Jeep Cherokee. Lower teens outside, so I've got my Jeep pulled into the garage and I'm going to start out there. I've got the Pitman arm loose and taking it off, and I've already got the drag link loose. Normally you'd need a puller to get the Pitman arm off, which I did on the original one, but this one is tore up and so it's already loose on there and it's going to pull off really easy. The weather is much nicer, so we got it pulled outside. I want to remove the air filter assembly just to get easier access to the steering gear.
Should be 2 bolts and a nut, but one of my bolts broke in the past, so now it's just 1 bolt and a nut.
You need to take a 13mm socket to remove this bolt that holds the steering shaft to the gearbox.
Wiggle the steering shaft while you pry it off. Slide it off. Alright, so using an 18mm crow's foot. In here and loosen the lines. I should go ahead and put a drain bucket under it too. It's probably be easier if you remove the lower radiator hose. I'm just not wanting to put more just don't want to put more antifreeze in it.
It's worth noting I replaced the power steering lines about 6 months ago, so they came off easily. The originals I had to cut because the nuts were seized to the lines.
That line off, I take off the other one with the 3/4 wrench. Okay, the gearbox bolts take a 16mm, and these frames of the unibodies are bad about cracking where they mount, and so when I had this bumper built, or when I built this bumper, we made the backing plate, or the mounting plate for the bumper, go all the way behind the steering box, so it acts as a backing plate, kind of stiffen it up.
What I meant to say is my friend helped me build the bumper, and he probably did most of the work. So I got a remanufactured steering gear from the local parts store.
Okay, so I was getting ready to install this gearbox And I just happened to look and I noticed the bolt hole looked kind of funny. I don't know if you could see it there. That one looks a little bit cross-threaded. And then if you look this one here, like you could see, this side barely has any threads. And it gets to where it has threads down in there real far, but the first part of the hole is stripped out. So I'm going to return this. That's just not going to work. But
So exchanged it at the parts store and got a different one, and I inspected it before I ever left the store with it. I recommend starting all bolts by hand and not with a power tool. If you start it by hand and it's cross-threading, you won't be able to damage the threads, but a power tool, you take a good chance of damaging the threads. And that's probably what the last person did that owned that gearbox, and the remanufacturer just never noticed it. The bolts will hold the steering box to the frame to 65 foot-pounds.
alright, the steering shaft will only go on one way. It's got a flat side on it.
During the install, I recommend leaving these plastic caps on as long as possible before you install the lines, just to keep from dropping crud into the gearbox.
Alright, so I ordered this drop Pitman arm off of Amazon, but it's from Rusty's Off-Road. Since the original Rough Country one stripped out, I didn't want to get them again, so I got a different brand. I could not find an American-made one, or at least no company could tell me if they were American-made or not. Most were made in China. This one was made in Taiwan. Looks pretty heavy duty, so we'll see how it works. Socket's a 33 millimeter.
I'm embarrassed to say this, but this failure was totally my fault. I didn't torque it to the proper spec when I installed this lift 5 years ago, and I just tightened it to what I thought was enough. Turns out the nut torques to 185 foot-pounds, so I didn't have it nearly tight enough. So it kind of shows the importance of following torque specs and stuff. And I definitely knew better, I just got in a hurry last time. I was inspecting the old Pitman arm and I found chunks of teeth missing out of it. Now I want to take it for a short drive just to see if the Pitman arm nut loosens up any. I'm going to get my torque wrench out and check the torque again. It did end up loosening up on me a little bit, so I'm probably going to do this several times just to make sure I have it good and tight and it doesn't come loose ever again. But anyways, that's how you replace the steering gear and Pitman arm in a 99 Jeep Cherokee. And if you're going to replace yours and your Jeep, then I hope this helped you out. Thanks for watching.